Northwest Arkansas was just awarded tens of millions of dollars to continue to grow, make better, and grow out the trail systems and paved pathways here in the area itself. Today we're focusing on what areas are they focusing on specifically, and why is 2050, the year, a big deal in this actual grant? So let's talk about that. Hey everybody, if you don't know who I am, my name is Phillip Shepard. I'm a local real estate agent located right here in Northwest Arkansas. If you weren't aware, I actually was a real estate broker located in the dumpster fire, the horrible, the no good state of Illinois, the worst. Anyways, I could have moved anywhere I wanted to in America. I could have moved to Asheville, I could have moved to Utah, I could have moved to Colorado, I could have moved to Texas, I could have moved anywhere I wanted to in America. But I chose Northwest Arkansas, and it is by far the best place to live in America, literally by far. If you ever want to talk about why I chose Northwest Arkansas versus anywhere else in America, call me, email me, whatever it is. We can meet up for coffee and talk about, again, why I chose Northwest Arkansas, again, anywhere else in America. Side note, if you are looking to reload to Northwest Arkansas, again, let me know right away. I help so many people every single year move from one state to Northwest Arkansas. My biggest vision, again, is helping as many people move here as possible to, again, the #1 place to live in America. All right, so yes, $17 million was just given to Northwest Arkansas to continue to improve, grow, and expand the pathways in the area itself. The first thing I want to cover is just, if you're kind of new to Northwest Arkansas, why does this make a difference? And the thing I want to point out to the fact is that you had to apply for these style of grants. And the thing is that a lot of areas can't handle these grants because it's like they're not growing out their pathway systems. But Northwest Arkansas is very unique in the sense that it's always growing up more and more pathways. I think we're up around 450 to 500 of actual bikeable miles just in Northwest Arkansas, whether it's trail biking, like mountain biking, or on paved pathways. It is a lot of miles happening in the area itself. So you're probably thinking, like, who cares about pathways? But coming from a place where biking wasn't possible, I moved from Chicago, biking wasn't possible, the temperatures were out of control. Obviously you could only bike if you wanted to or spend time on the trail systems, half the time out of the year. Coming to an area that's very temperate, that's very enjoyable, that is a great community and has endless amounts of trail systems, and you can bike from one spot to another spot to another spot, makes a big difference in the area itself. And that's part of the reason why I chose to move here versus, I guess, anywhere else in America. Northwest Arkansas is very unique in that. Now, the thing I want to mention about this is the important side, is that they're not slowing down. They're not stopping. They're always growing, making more and more trail systems. As the areas grow out a little farther, they want to make sure that those little side areas, side towns, and attached areas also have access to the trail systems. Now, this grant isn't necessarily going to fix those issues, those things coming up down the pipeline. That's going to take a whole different thing. But in the idea of this is that they're applying for grants. They're always going to different ways of getting more money and like I said, different ways of making trail systems better in the area itself. Fayetteville is always being ranked as one of the most bikeable places in America. Northwest Arkansas is known as the mountain biking capital of the world. So again, people spend a lot of times on the trail systems here, whether on biking or like the one wheels, or walking, or running, or jogging, or mopeds, or not mopeds, but like the scooters. It happens all the time. And so they're used for so many different things in the area. It's not just strictly biking. So if you're not a biker, you're fine. There's endless pathways for you to zip around town and just enjoy the area with friends, family, and just meeting people. So if you are looking for that kind of like outdoor style and you want to spend a lot of time on like the outdoors or want to get healthier, yeah, this is going to add more to the pie itself, honestly. And the second thing I want to cover is actually what areas are they really focusing on with this grant itself. Now, the first thing I want to mention is that there is some money being dedicated, of course, to Bentonville and Fayetteville, of course. But a good chunk of it, more than stands out here, is both Springdale and Lowell. That is a very hot area when it comes to growth in Northwest Arkansas. Trail systems and obviously outdoor spaces and parks and pool systems and all those different things. So Lowell and Springdale, which are really close to each other, like this, they're being, essentially, there's so much money being dumped in the area itself because it's a flat, nice ground to some extent. There's kind of areas coming up around there, but it's just easy to work with close to 49. And it's kind of, maybe 10 years ago, it would have been kind of the meh part of Northwest Arkansas, but now it's becoming a really awesome thing. So having, new steakhouses and coffee shops and downtown sections and apartment complexes and condos and walkable and bikeable and all the different things, it's just making sense for a lot of the extra money to be poured into that kind of Lowell Springdale area. Now, again, there are some towns that are included on this that do definitely need some more, let's say, assistance. Centerton is on there, but they don't have a lot of money allocated to it, if I'm being honest. I'm gonna link the actual breakdown below, but Centerton is about to get, about $100,000, which is not a lot, and another $400,000 for like some sidewalk stuff. Not a big deal there, because I think what's really happened is that Centerton has to have its own like thing going on, and honestly, like it needs its own pathways. Like eventually they will get a huge trail system there through all the different things, but Centerton needs to kind of mature first and then put the trail system in, if you understand what I'm saying, because they just need to. Bentonville has it going on, and they're going to obviously connect all of Bentonville to Centerton when it comes to trail systems, but they really need to solidify we'll say the upper management of Centerton needs to we'll say get on the same page a little bit, to say it that way. So they're a little slow and a little behind on the times, to say the least. So they're not moving far ahead, so which makes sense why they're not allocated a lot of money, because like what are you gonna do with it? Whereas Lowell and Tawnytown and also Springdale, they are firing all cylinders, and so that's why they got a huge chunk of the money, because they're like, yeah, we need this. We need more trails, pathway systems, get into 49, get into the Razorback Greenway, get into the steakhouses, coffee shops, walkability, all those different things. So the main chunk of it again is both Springdale and Lowell, but there are some adjacent areas that are getting some money as well. Bella Vista's getting a little bit of money. Obviously, Bentonville's getting some. But again, the big chunk of that stuff is both Tawnytown, Springdale, and Lowell. And that's fantastic to see because, again, high growth area, and it is kind of a little bit of a forgotten area. And so it's good to see that come to fruition here in the next less than 6 months. Whoa. I made something for you. I made something called 3-day itineraries. So maybe you're looking to take a trip down here, maybe you're looking to check out the whole area, checking to see if it's for you, maybe you're just checking out just vacations. I made 3-day itineraries, like literally day by day, restaurant by restaurant, thing by thing, everything when it comes to Northwest Arkansas. So basically you have a full-on plan of what to do when you roll into town. So maybe you're a adventurer, maybe you're a sports person, maybe you're a foodie, maybe you're a sightseer, maybe you have kids, whatever it is. I have 3-day itineraries linked down below for you. So go ahead and download them and use them when you get down here. Also, you might be using things like Realtor.com, Zillow.com, or Redfin. Way too slow. Notifications, way too slow. That's why I made something called Instant Home Updates. Sounds exactly what it is. Literally, it's Instant Home Updates. So enter information below: name, bedrooms, bathrooms, square footage. Where do you want to move to in Northwest Arkansas? Enter all the information below and make sure to miss a single notification when it comes for home for sale or for rent, all in Northwest Arkansas. Also, every single Friday, I send an email out just talking about all the cool things happening in Northwest Arkansas. What's going on downtown Bentonville? What's going on First Fridays? When is First Thursdays? What's going on in Fayetteville? What new buildings are coming to Springdale? What new things are going on in Rogers? When's the Saturday? There are so many things all the time. Enter your email below, and make sure you get that email every single Friday. But I need you to be aware, I need you to do a heads up. You will get a little fear of missing out, a little, we'll say FOMO, so to speak. But I promise you will be the most informed person eventually when you make it down to Northwest Arkansas. And the last thing I want to mention, and it goes back to what this article actually talked about, was about 2050. Why is 2050 being thrown around so often around Northwest Arkansas? Because everyone's aware that by 2045, 2050, there's gonna be about 1 million people in the area itself. We sit around 575, maybe 600,000 right now, which is a lot of people. You know, it's definitely a larger area comparison to a small town. Not Dallas size in any shape or form, of course. But they are very proactive in saying, how can we make sure that this area has the infrastructure, the accessibility, the trail systems, the mobility, all the different things that come with 1 million people. And they are definitely thinking far ahead, because the fact is that not everyone wants to own a car. Not everyone, people prefer sometimes to bike to work. Some people prefer to bike to a coffee shop. Some people prefer to walk around town versus actually get in a car and drive some places. And so when you start you have to think very far ahead, in my opinion, to start implementing those trail systems, because by the time it's there, it's kind of too late. That's why I'm worried about Centerton, because I'm like, hey guys, let's get on the page here. But regardless of, and there are plans, don't get me wrong, it's just like, do the thing. Anyways, I digress. But when it comes to Springdale, Lowell, Tawnytown, it makes perfect sense for this to happen because the ground is fresh. There's buildings starting to happen there. New downtown stuff's happening. Things are being torn down. New things are being built up. And in the meantime, you might as well spend some cash and actually put a great trail system baked into there. Now, don't get me wrong. There's amazing trails that go through there as we speak. Razorback Greenway and all the adjacent fingers, as I call them, to some of the mountains and trail and actual mountain biking paths. But when it comes to actually mobility from some parts of Springdale and Tawnytown and Lowell to 49 or to downtown sections or to whatever, it is a little bit lacking in some areas. So seeing this happen is a great thing. Again, always pointing back to 2050, whether it's the Northwest Arkansas Council, whether it's, obviously the trail system, all the stuff, the nonprofits, all those different things are pointing back to 2050, that we want to make sure that all the infrastructure is in place by 2050. Now, in my opinion, coming from Chicago, what happened was I was like, they did not think ahead for any, like they lived in the past, honest to God. And so when it came to what I came from, which was like everything's slow, why are we thinking ahead? We should put a 2-way lane in, and then you need to build a 4-lane in a year later. So it's like, that's why the actual like construction in Chicagoland area is just endless. It never ends because there's no incentive to think ahead, because it just makes more work for people that are making decisions to get more work to actually do it slower. Anyways, I don't live in Chicago anymore. Chicago's a dumpster fire. Stay away from that place. Anyways, when it comes to Northwest Arkansas, they are always thinking ahead, always planning ahead, always thinking what's around the corner, how can we obviously see around the corner, and what can we do to make sure the people that live here are very comfortable, enjoy it. The happiness rating is always super high. And so when you start factoring those things in, they want to make sure that those things are in place, because at some point it can become a little too late and you have to use other methods that are really not available. So anyways, seeing this happen is great. Love the fact that they're investing in this core area itself, and I'm very excited to see what happens the next, like literally 9 months, 6 to 9 months, when they start building out these new trail systems, pathways, and actual like sidewalks to make it way easier to bike and be mobile in these core areas itself. All right, that's all I have for you guys today. Again, if you haven't been down to Northwest Arkansas quite yet, I made something called the NWA Starter Pack. Sounds like what it is, literally a starter pack full of all the cool things in Northwest Arkansas. It comes with a 120-page guide, literally made by me, of all the things happening in Northwest Arkansas. Population, demographics, schools, all the things you want to know about Northwest Arkansas, all the cool things happening, all the things right here, 120-page guide, comes right to your home. It comes with my 3-day itineraries, it comes with postcards, it comes with stickers, it comes with this handy dandy, you just get this for obvious reasons, the NWA coloring book, the coloring book, all right? This is just a trip and a half. I think I'm in here somewhere. Hold on. Oh, there I am. There I am. Oh, you need this. You want this. I will send this to you, I promise. Anyways, you definitely want the NWA Starter Pack. So it's literally box shipped right to your home. Right to your home. Enter your name below. Enter your address below. Make sure you get that package shipped to you right away. Box right to your home. Side note, it does come with your first free mountain bike, so that's pretty cool. And I know what you're thinking. It's my favorite folder F word. Free! So enter your information below. Make sure to get the package shipped to you right away. All right, guys, see you next one.